The tips that I'm going to give you all today are a game changer and have helped me tremendously on my journey of becoming the woman that I desire to be. Before I started applying these tips to my life, I was very insecure, I was motivated but not disciplined, I was codependent and very overly critical of myself. The subconscious beliefs that we hold about ourselves stem from our childhood trauma as well as different experiences that we have had. So it's very important that we are taking the time to rewire our subconscious beliefs so that we can develop new and healthier ones that align with the person that we want to become. So today is going to be all about developing a healthy and positive self-concept so that we can start aligning with the highest version of ourselves and cultivating the life that we desire. So if you're interested, let's get into it. So what I want you guys to do first is write out a list of all the negative things that you believe about yourself. The negative thoughts that you have about yourself, the things that you do not like about yourself, the things that you are insecure about. Make a list of all of those single things because this is what's going to help us to develop our new self-concept as well. So I have a checklist of different questions that we are going to be asking ourselves so that we can start developing our new self-concept. So the first question that we are going to be asking is, how do we want to be perceived? Now, when it comes to the perception that other people have of you, it's not necessarily to care about what others think about you, but just to make sure that you are showing up in the world as the person that you want to be perceived as. Your reputation and the way that others perceive you has a lot to do with the type of opportunities and work that you'll attract, as well as the type of people that you will do business with. So to an extent, it is important to make sure that you are caring about the way that you are being perceived. So when it comes to the way that you're perceived, this has a lot to do with your appearance as well. So the way that you dress, the way that you walk, the way that you talk, it has a lot to do with the energy that you carry and just the way that you carry yourself overall. So when you think about the person that you desire to become, think about the way that they dress, think about the way that they carry themselves, the way that they speak, the type of places that they may go to. For me personally, I use Pinterest because I love Pinterest. And that is where I really curate a lot of my kind of like visuals and the things that I'm going for when I'm planning and when I'm manifesting. I like to create vision boards. So I'll put all the things that I desire on that vision board. So even when it comes to my appearance or just the way that I want to change up my look and my style, I'll kind of get an idea of it by putting different things together. So I'll give you guys a quick little example. For me personally, I was more so in the modeling world, the modeling industry. And with that, you know, it comes with doing lingerie, it comes with bikini shoots, it comes with, you know, different types of fashion as well, but just a different type of persona that I was kind of in. And for me personally, as I started realizing that I was outgrowing that, I guess, career path and just not aligning with it as much anymore, I started shifting into carrying myself in a different way. So for me personally, I wanted to get more into health, fitness, wellness, and beauty. So I started talking and showing up in a way that showed that I was serious about what I'm speaking about, that shows that I, you know, care for myself and I care about the way that I present myself, not revealing as much or just not showing as much of myself. So that had a lot to do with the transition that I made, and that was a way that I started developing my new self-concept. Now, when it comes to your appearance, that is one thing, but start thinking about the things that your highest self would do, the type of person that you want to become. What do their hobbies look like? What are the types of places that they go to? So for me, for example, I'm really big on self-development, growth, learning. So my type of vibe is going to like a bookstore. I love cafes. I love going out in nature. So going to the parks, going to the beach. I like to meditate, so sometimes I'll go outside in nature to meditate. Now, when it comes to being perceived and the way that you look, that is not the most important part, but it is a very crucial aspect to when it comes to being perceived, because people do judge you based off of first glance, the way that you present yourself, how much love and care that you put into yourself and effort. So that is very important. But aside from that, it's also about the way that you speak, the way that you walk, the way that you talk. A lot of the time when we are insecure or we don't feel as confident, it shows in our body language. So when we go places, we're scared to take up much space, so we'll kind of have our arms crossed or at our side, kind of fidgety, you know. Like, I used to be very anxious. I'm a very anxious person, so naturally when I would go out in public places, I would be very uncomfortable, scared to be seen, scared to take up too much room. But that has to end. If you really want to be the best version of yourself, you have to step into that confidence. It's very important to make sure that you are carrying yourself in a way that shows that you do love yourself and that you have that confidence, because people can also read that on you. If you are insecure or uncomfortable, the energy is going to show, it's going to tell. Making sure that you are walking with your head up, shoulders back, chin up, taking up all the space in the room, and knowing who you are. That is super important. So I do want to say that that is something that I have to step out of too, because, you know, I do not like being out in public. I felt very uncomfortable being seen. I was insecure. But ever since I started really showing up in a way that shows that I am confident, not only did I start meeting a lot of people that really aligned with who it was that I was trying to become, but I just got a lot more opportunities as well. So for me personally as well, the woman that I desire to be is a woman that is very intellectual, very wise, knows her standards, her worth. So for me, I like to read a lot of books, and I've been trying to learn like new words here and there and incorporate that into my daily routine so that I can also enhance my vocabulary. So that is something that I work on too and that I add into my day-to-day routine. So I make sure to always read something, whether it's something that I find online or whether I find a PDF of a book online as well. I like to do that so that I'm not always having to go out and buy the books. There's a lot of free books online, and also if you're not the type of person to like to read, there's a lot of free audiobooks on YouTube. And not only that, but if you are interested in a book and you want to see if they have it online, just type in the book title on Google and then PDF after. 9 times out of 10, well, it's a hit or miss with that, but you'll most likely find the book online as a free PDF. Listen to podcasts as well, and not only just podcasts, but any type of motivational videos, even on YouTube. I highly do recommend that as well, because that's something that helped me along my journey. I like to learn from people that have already embodied the type of energy that I want to embody, or that have already gotten to a certain place. And the best way to do that is through reading books, listening to podcasts, and watching different videos like this one online. Another thing as well that I knew the highest version of myself would do is exercise and work out. Now, I was never really big into fitness, to be completely honest. I just could never get into it. And every time I would start slacking and I would fall off. And even still, it's been a bit of a journey for me, and it's been a bit difficult, especially with certain things going on in between. You know, life happens. But I am very proud of myself, because within this last year, I was able to stay dedicated to it and see the growth. And that was the most growth that I've ever experienced when it came to working out. So I was very happy and proud about that. And I knew that that was something that the best version of myself would do. So I made sure to create a schedule. I got the things that I needed, whether it was my fitness bands, my protein, the foods that I needed to keep up with the nutrition side. I just made sure to plan everything out so that I can really stay on track and on top of those goals, because that was something important to me that I knew that I needed to do to step into the best version of myself. Now, another tip that I have that works really well is to look at things that you admire about other people. It is more than okay to have people that you are inspired by and that you look up to, as long as it's in a healthy way. But that really does show you a lot about who it is that you want to be and certain traits that you want to cultivate within yourself. There was a lot of people on my journey that I was heavily inspired by that really helped me to get an idea of the woman that I wanted to be. The next question that you are going to ask yourself is, how can you improve? This is where the list that we wrote down in the beginning is really going to help us. Now, when you look at this list and you look at all the things that you dislike about yourself, the things that you want to change about yourself, now it's time to create a plan on how you can overcome those things and change it. So say, for example, if you are motivated but not disciplined, and you have the inspiration, you have the motivation, but you just can't stick to your routines and find consistency. Now, for me personally, what really helped me to become more disciplined was creating my routines. Now, even with creating routines, you can create a routine and still not show up, still not stick to the routine. So that is when discipline really comes in. But you have to just push yourself. That's really the only way that you can overcome the laziness, the procrastination, is by literally just having the willpower to push through and say, you know what, despite how I feel right now, I'm still gonna get up and do what I have to do. This is such a struggle as well, especially if you struggle with mental health. Me personally, that's been my struggle all my life. So it's been very hard, and that was another reason why I found it hard to have discipline, because of the fact that my mental health was so bad at the time that it was hard for me to even get past that, to show up and do the things that I needed to do. So creating those healthy routines is what helped me to keep myself balanced mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally, so that I would still have the energy to be able to carry out my routines. Also, too, once you do get in the habit of doing your routines, it starts to just become secondhand nature. Like, you don't even have to think about it. You just get used to doing a certain thing every day, to the point where it gets easier, and that discipline is just, it's nothing. It becomes so easy. So now say that you want to improve like your health and your fitness. Maybe you're insecure about the way that your body looks or about the things that you eat, and you know that you need to change up your diet. For one, health is wealth. So you have to make sure that you are on top of your health and that you are taking care of your body, because this is our one and only vessel, and this is what is going to carry us throughout our life. So if we're not good here and mentally, we have nothing else. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself, especially if you do find that you do struggle with mental health. Make sure that you have some type of routine to where you know, okay, at this time I'm going to eat breakfast, at this time I'm going to eat lunch, at this time I'm going to have dinner, I'm going to have a couple snacks in between, I'm going to drink my water, I'm going to take my protein, whatever the case. For me personally, when I was struggling with my mental health, it was very hard for me to keep up with my diet, which led to me feeling insecure as well, because I wanted to gain weight. I was losing so much weight, and I'm already naturally very slim. So I found that it was very hard for me to keep up with a diet. So what I did is, with incorporating my mental health routines, I started taking my protein, because for me it was way easier to just drink the calories in protein than to eat it. And I also made sure to find a natural protein as well, which is very important to me. So that's a little, tip if you are trying to gain. But if it comes to like losing weight or whatever your goals are, another tip that I will say is to use LifeSum if you want to actually track it and you are serious about this. LifeSum is an amazing app, guys. No kidding. I am not sponsored by this app. I hope they will, because I love that app so much. But it helps you to keep up with your fitness goals. And you can get the premium version, but you don't even have to. You can use it with the free version and it's still just as helpful. But you basically put in your goals. So say that you want to lose or gain. You put if you want to lose, gain, or maintain. You put your height, your weight, your goals, what you want to achieve. It has meal plans for you can like log in your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all of that. It is so detailed and it is so great. So if you really want to stay on track of your fitness goals and your wellness, I definitely recommend to get that app. Now, if you want to develop a healthy mindset and you want to improve the way that you think, you want to improve the way that you show up in the world, reading and the podcast, like I said, is going to be your biggest help when it comes to that. I did a lot of shadow work and inner work healing. That was a game changer for me, because to be completely honest, I was always an overthinker. I felt very misunderstood. I was a little insecure, I just didn't have the healthiest mindset, especially because I was going through so much. So when it comes to the mindset aspect and developing a new mindset and new beliefs, you have to really start with your childhood trauma. And a lot of us, don't want to look at that stuff. Me personally, my childhood wasn't extremely terrible, but I know for others it may be certain things that you may not want to revisit. But it is so important, you guys. And I know that it may be hard, but that is the main key. And that's the secret that a lot of people don't really talk about. Our childhood trauma really does dictate and influence who we become as adults. So the way that you are, it stems a lot from how you were as a child, the way that you were treated by your parents or family, or certain things that you experienced, certain things that you went through growing up. A lot of that really does have to do with the person that you are. So you really do have to kind of revisit those things and take a deeper look, so that you can overcome all the trauma that you had from your childhood, so that you can have a new, fresh, renewed mindset and develop new subconscious beliefs, as well as to just certain things that you may have experienced even just in your adulthood or your teenage years. You have to look at all of that. Anything that you've went through that has affected you negatively or been traumatic for you, you do have to revisit that, and you have to ask yourself questions. That's what I did, and that's something that really helped me on my journey to heal, especially, is self-reflection and going back to all the major things that happened in my life that negatively affected me, and asking myself questions about it, coming to terms with what happened, giving myself my own closure, and just really overcoming the fears, the things that came with those types of trauma. That is so important, and it's going to really help you, because once you start doing the inner work, it really does reflect into your outer world, and you will feel a lot lighter, you'll feel more free, and you'll just feel like you can just become anybody and do anything. And I do highly recommend listening to affirmations, listening to subliminals. Those work really well too. And yeah, writing also helped me too, so I do recommend writing. Now, another thing that you want to do is look at all the negative habits and traits that you have and cultivate healthier ones. So this is where that list that we wrote in the beginning comes in. You're going to look at all the things that you want to change about yourself and find a healthy alternative to that. So say if you do eat unhealthy, start eating healthier foods. Me personally, I have a sweet tooth, so it was very hard for me to put the sweets down, especially ice cream. So what I would do is, instead of having a big bowl of ice cream, I'll have a big, nice, juicy, healthy bowl of fruits. It's so good, and it works just the same. You know, it's a sweet alternative that's healthy. Now, this was my biggest one, alcohol. I loved to drink. And not only that, but I did used to cope with certain things through alcohol. So once I finally broke free from that, what I would do is I would just have mocktails, because for me personally, it's not only about the feeling alcohol gives when I go out and I want to have a drink. It's also sometimes just about the aesthetic. Pretty drinks are just nice, they're cute. So making a mocktail can definitely be a great alternative to having the alcohol. And if you use alcohol or drink alcohol for the feeling that it gives, there are actually alternatives to that as well, and natural things that you can add into your drinks so that it kind of gives you a little bit of that same feeling and that same sense. Now, the last thing that I want to leave with you guys is to step out of your comfort zone, because we all know nothing good comes from your comfort zone. When you're comfortable, you're not really growing, you're kind of just stagnant, and staying in that stagnancy is going to keep you in the same place forever. So it's very important to take risks and to put yourself out there in the ways that you want to do the things that you want to do. Try new things. Like, we have more than enough time, and this is something that society tries to put into our head, that we have to rush and we're on a time crunch, we're on a time period, and we have to do things by this and that. There's nothing wrong with setting goals, but do not lose yourself in feeling like you have to get things done at a certain age, or just, you know, it's a lot of negativity and just a lot of extra just things that we put on ourselves that really don't necessarily need to be put on ourselves. Take your time. Things happen in divine timing for a reason, and not everything is supposed to happen right when you want it to happen, and that's just something about life. And if you can't allow yourself to just sometimes flow with the currency of life, it's going to be really hard for you to stay positive and to stay up when you see that things aren't always working when you want it to work. Make sure that you are being patient with yourself and you are giving yourself the love and the tenderness that you need, because we're our own, you know, biggest critics, and a lot of the time we get down on ourselves when we see that things aren't working out a certain way that we envisioned, or when we see that things aren't happening as fast as we want. Be patient with yourself and allow things to unfold in the way that they need to unfold. So take those risks and try new things. Don't get caught up in the whole time period and scheduling of life, especially if you're in your 20s. And this is something too that I really want my people in my 20s to know, because when you're in your 20s, it's just a weird feeling. You feel like you have to have it all together, but you feel at the same time that you're still young and you're still figuring it out. Let me tell you, you are still young and you're still figuring it out. A lot of people in their 30s are still figuring it out. A lot of people in their 40s are still figuring it out. It's okay to try new things and to fail. Like, you have to do that sometimes, especially to really get to where you want to be. You have to try new things and fail at it to see what really works for you and what's not going to work. That's something that I notice is a pattern when it comes to a lot of successful people. And like I said, I listen to a lot of podcasts, mentors, and things like that. And a lot of them, they had to fail multiple times before they really found that recipe for success. So you have to try new things and you have to fail and you have to put yourself out there. You got to get uncomfortable so that you can get to a place where you can be comfortable. But that is it, you guys. I really do hope that you guys found some key tips and takeaways from this video. If you did, be sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, share with somebody that you feel may benefit from it, and I will see you guys in my next video. I wish you guys all the best. Peace and much love.
Look at the streets, you are not my mate. If you become a chef, not be head of state. But my people then go say I don't want die, I don't want die.